To a Fox News alert, look at this. FBI agents raiding the Maryland home of former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton. These images are live. That's video.
David Spunt joins us now with more on this breaking news. Hey, David.
Hey, good morning. We believe John Bolton was home. We're told that he is not in custody and he's not under arrest. The FBI not commenting, the Justice Department not commenting, but two senior government sources say that FBI agents are looking specifically for classified documents that may have been classified. Now, this is a live look at the street where this is all going down just outside Washington, D.C. in Maryland. It's unclear how long this raid will take place, but FBI Director Kash Patel put out a cryptic post on social media this morning, and Attorney General Pam Bondi followed up with it. He says no one is above the law, FBI agents on a mission. Then she followed up talking about accountability. America's safety isn't negotiable. Justice will be pursued always. So it's not clear exactly how many documents they may be looking for, but we are told Bolton is not in custody. What's unclear, though, if he's being cooperative or not. We know, I said this about 20 minutes ago when I was on the air, his security clearances and his security detail that he had, a government subsidized security detail, was stripped by President Trump. He said that it was unnecessary. Bolton says that he is at risk from the Iran regime of potential assassination attempts or other sorts of plots. We've not yet heard from Ambassador Bolton, who served as President Trump's national security advisor in the first administration, but he's out there. He's been on TV recently. He just did an interview on another network a couple of days ago. A couple of weeks ago, he said on another network that he believes that the Justice Department is out for retribution and vengeance, and he believes that he will be a target. 2 weeks later, we see the FBI now gathering at his home in Bethesda, Maryland. But I want to point out that, this is very early in the process. We know that a magistrate judge would have had to sign off on this. The FBI doesn't just unilaterally decide to go into someone's home. Then this evidence, after it's analyzed, will be taken to a grand jury, and a grand jury will decide if there is enough evidence for federal charges. Guys.
David, have we seen them come out with anything? We keep seeing FBI agents going in. They've been there since 7, so an hour and 3 minutes. Have they retrieved anything?
I have not seen anybody come out with anything on camera yet, but we're told, yes, they are inside looking at documents. They will be leaving with boxes. I just have not personally seen anybody walk out with boxes, but we're told, yes, they are, and they may be looking at other sites connected to Ambassador Bolton. As far as any other people that may be targeted today, one senior official that I spoke to that has been briefed on this says it does not appear that that is so. It appears right now, and I want to always couch that it appears as of 8:03 in the morning that this is the only person that would be involved today, the only target involved today. So that's what we're looking at right now, guys.
So we know that you just mentioned that the FBI Director Kash Patel, 58 minutes ago, put out this: no one is above the law, FBI agents on a mission. And then Dan Bongino, the assistant FBI director, says 10 minutes later, public corruption will not be tolerated. That's interesting. And it's retweeting, it's building on Kash Patel's post.
It certainly is. And I will say that notably, and it might be a bit of a coincidence, and it's somewhat unrelated, probably very unrelated, but President Trump's then former President Trump's home, when he was former president, Mar-a-Lago, was raided for classified documents, and that was a little bit more than 3 years ago. That was early August of 2022. And he was not home at the time. We're told Bolton was home today. But again, I'm told that he's not in any sort of custody or he's not under arrest. So it's very possible we may see him fly to a camera today, talk about this, put out some sort of statement, whether it be through his attorney or whether it be through something that he says himself.
So I'm assuming you've not seen the search warrant in this case, but you've seen other search warrants in cases like this.
Exactly.
The search warrant would include very specific things, outlining these kinds of documents that they're specifically looking for, or in maybe a computer, or maybe cell phones, things like that. But it would be very specified. There would be very specific things listed in that search warrant.
Absolutely. You're 100% right about that. And When the FBI agents raided Mar-a-Lago, they had a list, which was eventually made public, of what they were looking for. We will get a list here. We will see the document at some point of what specifically they're looking for. We're not going to see the information if it is indeed classified, but FBI agents are very careful in these situations. There's a team that, with the Washington field office, the local office here, that is painstakingly careful with all of this stuff. The FBI has to be, because it could come and bite the federal government when it comes to an actual court proceeding or a trial proceeding, and they want to win. They want to win if there does indeed become a federal trial out of this, so they have to be very careful, and they have an actual laundry list, just as you said correctly, of things that they are specifically looking for. So it's called probable cause. They believe they had the probable cause to go inside and find whatever they are specifically looking for. Now, it's possible when they're in there, they may find other items, and it's possible that those items could be taken into custody. So that's not clear. That's still early in the process. But certainly it's not just a general, we think you have classified documents, please let us in. It doesn't work like that.
Do you have a sense of when you might be able to get your hands on that document? Is that something that will be forthcoming in a week, or does it depend on where the investigation goes?
It could be a little while. Yeah, it just depends on where the investigation goes. I remember the Trump documents happened several days later when we first found out, because this all is being run through a magistrate judge in Maryland, because that's where Ambassador Bolton lives in Maryland. So it would be a federal court system in Maryland. We would look at the documents, see what the documents say when they're posted. There'd be a case number assigned. This is just still so early in the process because it happened. So I suspect that, and it also just depends on the volume of documents here. I mean, are we talking 10 pages, 15 pages, or 100 pages? So it really just depends on the volume. But I would suspect nothing today. But things can happen very quickly if people want to make them happen quickly. But I would think probably not today.
All right, David, thanks so much. Tell us if anything breaks or moves. Let's bring in Fox News contributor, George Washington University law professor, Jonathan Turley. Jonathan, what do you think they have to have ahead of time in order to make this raid something palatable for a judge to sign off on?
Well, most importantly, they need a warrant. So that judge had to look at whether they had a particular list of evidence that they were trying to secure, and probable cause that a crime might have been committed. Now, that might is very important. There are plenty of raids that occur and charges do not occur as a result. But for a high visibility raid of this kind, I would think the administration waited until they had what they felt was a lead pipe cinch of a case for a warrant and a strong case to move forward. We just don't know. This is going to be clearly a warrant seeking documents. And I can tell you, as a criminal defense attorney who's had clients subject to search warrants, documents tend to be particularly burdensome for defendants, because they basically hoover up everything in the house that could contain digital or written material. That includes thumb drives and computers, laptops, desktops, phones. All of those things are ordinarily sought that can have any type of digital memory or storage. And you are given a copy of that warrant, and you're ultimately given an inventory of things that are removed. And what follows that is a long process of inspection. Now, in the case of Bolton, there's going to be very sensitive issues there. One is he's clearly a critic of President Trump. And so there's going to be concerns whether this is retaliatory. But in the same fashion, there's going to be material on his computer that he's going to argue is protected speech, maybe even privileged material. So they might have to create these walls that are put up, have separate teams to minimize any intrusion into privileged or protected areas.
Yeah, Jonathan, I remember when Mar-a-Lago was raided and Melania had said that they even went through her closet, they went through her drawers. It can be very intrusive, but I know when you're the FBI and you're looking for any evidence, you have to look everywhere. He's been accused of using classified information in his book that he wrote in 2020. Do you know what was in that book, what classified information he wasn't supposed to share?
Yeah, that's what is intriguing here, because these are long-standing allegations that the book indicated or referenced classified material that he may have acquired when he was in the administration. We're not clear as to what that is, but it would suggest that it could be national defense information. The reason that's important is that creates a heightened potential penalty. So you can have penalties that range from 5 to 20 years. 20 years tends to be the sentences for concealing information, obstructing justice. Simply having classified information can weigh in at about 10 years. And there are often multiple counts because each of those documents can be charged separately. So there is a strange history here. So you had these allegations coming out as early as the first Trump administration. Then there was an allegation that the Biden administration essentially scuttled a further look at this case. Right. And now we have this new development. But we really don't know if there's something that has occurred most recently, whether they uncovered something that they believed is sort of evergreen, that this is still a viable criminal case.
So something tells me that the political world is probably going to be weighing in on this within a few minutes. But does it, going back to what you just said a minute ago, does it give some sort of further credence to the Trump administration that they had a lot of questions back before the book came out? The Trump administration, the first Trump administration, had serious concerns about much of what went into that book. And I think that their concerns were raised after he submitted the book, The Room Where It Happened, to the government to take a look at some of, to basically give clearance to some of the passages in there. Does it give the Trump administration, the current one, any sort of credence or credibility that they laid the marker down previously, that they had problems with some of these concerns well before, not that Bolton hadn't turned on the Trump administration earlier, but well before he turned into the critic that he is today?
Yeah, these books are very messy in terms of federal law and regulations. You're supposed to get pre-approval if you are relying upon information you acquired, particularly that's classified. I don't know what occurred in any pre-review.
I think they held up the release.
They tried to.
Yeah. And so there's obviously a record there of disagreement. What I'm intrigued about is why now? And, you know, the other side is going to say, look, this guy's persona non grata. There are a few people that Trump dislikes more than John Bolton. He really became a very fervent anti-Trump critic during the campaign. And so there's going to be close scrutiny as to whether there is an independent and legitimate basis to take this step. We're going to find out in the coming couple of weeks as to what led them to move on the House to acquire this evidence. But as you noted, this has been a long-standing bone of contention between Bolton and the administration.
Jonathan, maybe I've watched too many movies. What does it look like inside the House when they're having this raid? I mean, we see in the movies, the papers are everywhere. They go through every drawer. They leave a mess.
They usually do leave a mess. I had a client where they showed up at his house. He was a scientist at like 3 a.m. and the kids were screaming and they were trying to calm the kids while these agents just tore apart the house. So it can be it can truly be traumatic, particularly if you have young children, which is not the case here. But these FBI agents have a right to go in there. So unless it's a no-knock warrant, which wouldn't be a case, I can't imagine they had a no-knock warrant here. If you have a no-knock warrant, right, they can take that door off its hinges because they believe that someone in the house could be a threat to the officers. There's no reason to suggest that here. So normally there's a knock on the door. They do go through de-escalation. They don't want to have a confrontation. There's a lot of people that have firearms. Bolton may have private security, so you don't want to have any missed signals here that someone's trying to get into the house of a protected person. And then once they're inside, they move pretty darn quickly and they ask you to step aside and you can observe them, but you cannot get in their way. And often it is very messy. Now, in a document search of this kind, they're going to sweep through that house and grab anything that has any storage capacity at all. In some of my clients' case, where they're looking for physical evidence, it can look like your house was hit by a tornado. I mean, they will take apart mattresses, furniture, and they don't go back and clean it up. They take what they need and they leave.
Remember what they did at Mar-a-Lago? They stacked up the documents that they wanted to. And they took a picture of it.
That's right. I remember that.
And they acted like that Donald Trump left a mess. No, it was them that left a mess. Right. And they decided to take a picture. Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.